very clean. We don't have any specific
We don't have
ideas of what should not happen with the Corn Palace and the Corn Palace area, and we don't pose to have all of the answers for you tonight. So this is mainly geared as the time to listen to your ideas, your concerns, those types of things. We'll try to answer a few limited questions, but this isn't necessarily a question and answer session because we're so early in the process that there are more questions than answers at this particular time. In the public forum announcement that was issued to various agencies as well as the media, we posed 4 questions that we are asking for input on tonight. And we're going to go through those one at a time and ask for all of you to give your input. For purposes of just trying to keep this thing as a manageable time, we'd like to limit responses to 5 minutes apiece, or comments to 5 minutes apiece. The formal process, we're going to try to limit it to an hour. Try to go till probably 6:45, 7 o'clock or so. And obviously it'll depend on the nature of the discussion going forward, whether we continue it past that or not. And we'll certainly try to make all of ourselves available after the fact in case some of you aren't very comfortable in speaking publicly about this. So with that, Tom Meyer.
Thanks, Doug. We're just going to, my team here is going to introduce ourselves briefly, and then we'll talk a little bit about these boards, and then we'll get to the questions. But my firm, Meyer, Shearer, and Rockcastle, is just celebrated our 30th year in business. We are a firm of about roughly 40 people. We have a small office in the Washington, D.C. area, and then our main office in Minneapolis. If you've been to Minneapolis and been to the Mill City Museum, that's one of our projects, and that's where our office is. We do a lot of community libraries around the middle of the country, especially.
Over here. Wait. I can't hear you. Can the rest of you hear me out there?
Oh.
Hear okay?
Yep.
Okay,
Go.
must be my hearing.
Okay, we'll go. I'll speak a little louder. We do community libraries around the country. We do nature centers and exhibit space. This is a very unique project. I'm sure that when the architects responded to the request for qualifications, there was no one who had done a Corn Palace before. But we're very honored and excited about the opportunity to work with you all on this historic project. It's amazing how long the Corn Palace has been part of your community, and we're, again, honored to be part of it. I'd like to just ask my colleagues to introduce themselves briefly.
Is this on? Hello? Okay. Hi, my name is Justin Martinez. I'm also with Meyer, Shearer, and Rock. The shorting? Am I okay? Originally, I'm from Colorado, and in Colorado, or I guess before that, I should say that I have an entertainment and retail background. And in Colorado and Denver, especially, I worked on several arenas and renovations: Denver Coliseum, the Red Rocks Amphitheater, Broomfield Event Center, and actually the Paramount Theater. So I think you have a great project here. I'll pass this on.
Thank you. I'm Don Iberg, also in Minneapolis. I'm a consultant to the MS&R team. My background has been in arenas and entertainment, convention centers, those types of projects over the years. I'm going to list a couple of projects that you may have heard of. Taylor Center at Minnesota State University, Mankato. I did the Sears Center outside of Chicago. I've done a number of projects at the Target Center in Minneapolis, including reseating that building a number of years ago to increase the seating capacity and give them a better layout for their basketball games. Currently, I have a project in the Chungshim Arena in South Korea that's going to be completed this year. I've consulted on an arena in Romania, finished up the Central Michigan University Arena, Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I have done a lot of work at the Metrodome, not including the roof. And I'm also currently working with the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee on a new arena project.
My name is this on? I am a museum planner and consulting in areas of visitor experience on the team for Meyershire and Rockcastle. I do work all over the country, and I got to tell you, I've been mentioning this project to some of my colleagues, and number one, they all know what it is, and number two, they're all jealous. This is a very, very rich and interesting site to be working on, and I think we'll have a lot of fun with it.
Hi, I'm Jim Robin. I'm a landscape architect with Close Landscape Architecture in Minneapolis. We've worked with MS&R, Tom's group, for a number of years on many projects. We're a 7-person landscape architecture firm. We do urban plazas, public parks, nature centers, urban streetscapes. We have quite a wide range of things that we get involved with, and we're very excited about the possibilities for things that might happen to support the Corn Palace.
Okay. Well, this is our first meeting, and as Doug mentioned, it's a time where we're gathering information. So this is our 5th meeting today with different groups, and we'll be coming back in a second meeting where we'll have sort of boiled down all the input that we've gotten today and bring some ideas and some summaries of all that input back to folks. And then there'll be a third meeting where hopefully the things will be quite narrowed down, and we'll start to have a particular set of options. We're not going to create single-handedly, the ideas for what's going to happen to the Corn Palace. It will be a series of alternatives that that the committee and the council and the community will weigh in on and make those decisions. But what's behind me is what we put together to help get the project for ourselves back in, I guess it was May or so. But it kind of summarizes the project, and I'll take just a minute to go through that, and then we'll get to the 4 questions. And perhaps this is difficult to read from where you are, but basically what we said was that this is more than a building project. This is not, here's X number of seats and so much exhibit space, and here's a budget, go build it on this particular site. That what really needs to happen is to look comprehensively at the situation. Tourism is dropping off. The arena here has been studied, and we know that it's been part of the community conversation for quite a while. So what we said is that we want to really start at the very beginning, get a lot of input about what the issues are and what the nature of the problems and opportunities are. So that includes looking at this building and the adjacent city hall to see if they have more life in them with a major renovation, and whether they can be adapted for the new and changing needs that we are hearing about. That's one task, look at these buildings. The second task is to look at the immediate area around the Corn Palace. to see what kind of public space would enhance the functioning of the Corn Palace. We've heard ideas like a temporary stage where during the Corn Festival bands might play, perhaps a park, perhaps some children's focused entertainment for when people are coming as tourists here. We've heard about, for example, more space for buses and traffic flow. So those are the kinds of things that would influence the space outside here, the 3 or 4 or 5 blocks that are surrounding this. And this wouldn't mean that those blocks change dramatically. Some of them could potentially change significantly into parks, but it might just be a future location for some, let's say, a development site that enhances the region here to around the Corn Palace. And the third piece has to do with the visitor experience. Right now, when people come, they look at the murals, they have an opportunity to shop, they can look at the photos there, but it doesn't keep them here very long, and it doesn't, frankly, tell the terrific historic story very well. So we just came out of a meeting where we were talking about ideas about how to improve the visitor experience and tell that historic story of all those corn palaces in a better and more engaging way. What this board is kind of talking about is that last thing that I mentioned. What it says here is a century of Corn Palace murals. It's actually been more than a century, but this is an image of one of the earliest ones, and it is a very compelling image. And so it became kind of the inspiration. What could we do to sort of bring back some of that excitement and you know, just how kind of crazy that image was of this corn palace. You know, many turrets, many murals. Now it's quite lean. So that was one kind of inspiration, let's say, is to look back into the past. Another thought was that, like you have out in the hallway here, there's a timeline. And how could that timeline be enhanced? This is a different project from a different location, but it is a timeline. You can maybe see here, this is 1995 and this is 1996 and so on. So more stories could be told around each year as an example to enrich the visitor experience. This is something from Mill City Museum, which is one of our projects, which is it's called an object theater, which is it's artifacts and sound and projected images all together, in this case in about a 10 or 15 minute presentation. But it's quite dramatic. People come out, some, you know, smiling. There's some moving, emotional things in this little theatrical performance that make people, even bring a tear to people's eyes. So that's another kind of thing that might be done here. And then finally, another kind of example is just that maybe there is some more active things where people can do some physical things like climb onto an observation deck, or you know, get behind the mural someplace. So none of this has been is a decision at all, but it's just some ideas that we had very early on to help have a conversation with the committee and frankly help them convince us to select us back in May.